Jeepies! Welcome to the introductory episode of Do Talkin' to Me. Is that what we're really going to call this show? Like, seriously? Like, is that what this show is actually going to be titled? Do Talkin' to Me. Oh my god. Alright. I can do this. I can do anything. Okay. Do Talkin' to Me. Alright. My name is Sid, and I am a fan of the popular, long-running cartoon franchise, Scooby-Doo. I'm quite clearly a nerd. And no, I'm not a nerd in the attractive, trendy kind of way. No, I'm a nerd in the unfortunate, irredeemable sort of way. So that means I like stuff like Star Wars, DC Comics, horror movies, video games. That's not to say that I don't touch any fiction that's sophisticated. I have watched Citizen Kane on multiple different occasions, not to brag. Back to the nerdy stuff, though. I like cartoons. As a child, my go-to channel for cartoon viewing was, of course, Cartoon Network, the home for cartoons. Cartoon Network had a massive catalog of classic cartoons and eventually branched out, introducing its own slew of new classic cartoons. If I could, I'd just talk about Cartoon Network and all of its programming until the end of time, but I gotta stay on track here. Cartoon Network started out with Warner Brothers' seminal shorts, but the network also had a wide range of cartoons from another influential animation studio, Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera was a pioneer in television animation, when many other companies were wary of the new medium. Hanna-Barbera cartoons tended to be cheap, cost-effective, and they were often derivative of some live-action source material, but with a twist that would only be possible in a cartoon. The Flintstones borrowed a lot from Honeymooners, but what people remember the most from the former show was the inventive prehistoric world that was created around the characters. Also, Fred Flintstone didn't jokingly threaten domestic abuse towards his wife quite as often. Hanna-Barbera cartoons varied in quality, but they were usually entertaining. And Hanna-Barbera was giving the world its cartoon fix during a dark time when prolific companies like Disney were turning their backs on the art form that made them famous. Before the end of the 60s, Hanna-Barbera was responsible for creating a remarkable amount of iconic characters. Flintstones, Jetsons, Johnny Quest, Tom and Jerry, Yogi Bear, and Space Ghost. Oh, I also can't forget about Ricochet Rabbit. Let's move on. After all of these hit cartoons, Hanna-Barbera had yet to produce the most popular and enduring cartoon series that it would ever release. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? It was the late 60s. The Vietnam War was going on, I guess, but more importantly, the Archie Show was a hit for Hanna-Barbera's competitor, Filmation. Based on the long-running comic series, the Archie Show was about a bunch of teens that did some stuff, but when they weren't doing that stuff, they were in a bubblegum pop band. Yeah, the Archies were cartoon characters that actually performed music on their show. This was a pretty new thing, and one of the Archies' songs actually managed to top the charts. That song was Sugar Sugar. You know, sugar, bam, 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 bam. Oh, honey, honey, bam, 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 bam. You get the idea. So, the Archie Show came out, and Hanna-Barbera was ordered by its corporate masters to craft a show that could capitalize on the Archies' popularity. This competing show began as Mysteries 5. Hanna-Barbera put Ken Spears, Joe Ruby, and Iwao Takamoto in charge of developing the show. Like the Archie Show, Mysteries 5 would involve a group of teenagers that were in a band called the Mysteries 5, but unlike the Archies, when they weren't performing, the kids would solve mysteries. No, the Mysteries 5 were a knitting circle. Of course they solve mysteries. What's wrong with you? Much like Flintstones, Mysteries 5 was modeled after a popular live-action sitcom. In the case of Mysteries 5, this influential show was The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, which featured, for example, a beatnik character named Maynard G. Krebs, played by the late Bob Gilligan Denver. Maynard might look familiar to you. Not to me. I don't even know why I brought him up. Mysteries 5 was also influenced by a 1940s radio show called I Love a Mystery, which involved some friends that went around the world solving mysteries, but I don't know a whole lot about that show. Anyway, unlike the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew or, I don't know, the fucking Bobbsey Twins, Mysteries 5 would solve spookier mysteries with more of a supernatural angle, instead of just putting the kibosh on some smugglers all the time. The members of the Mysteries 5 were then known as Jeff, Kelly, Mike, Linda, and WW, the little brother of Linda. Ooh, initials. Really edgy stage name you got there, WW. To counter Jughead's dog sidekick, Hot Dog, the Mysteries 5 were given their own goofy dog sidekick, a bongo-playing Great Dane named Too Much.
That's not really a name. That's more of a statement, I think.
Yeah, it seemed like Hanna-Barbera was pushing a little too hard toward trying to appeal to kids of the time, bordering almost on pandering.
No, it was definitely pandering. Like, totally. Completely certain it was pandering.
Later on in development, Mysteries 5 had some expected changes. Mike and Jeff were merged into one character named Fred. Kelly became Daphne. Linda was rechristened Velma. WW would henceforth be known as Shaggy and was no longer related to Velma.
That means there's no possibility of incest between anyone in the gang. That won't stop some fan fiction writers, though.
Mysteries 5 would also go by a new title. Who's Scared?
Oh, come on. At least Mysteries 5 is a better title than that.
Who's Scared was found by network executives to be far too scary for children. What with Vietnam going on, I guess the networks felt that they didn't need more things on TV for people to be scared of. So Hanna-Barbera retooled the show to be a little less scary and a little more comedic. The studio dropped the Archie's cartoon rock band gimmick like a bad habit and paid more attention to the mysteries themselves, with Shaggy and Too Much having a larger role. One of the executives at CBS who was a driving force for the creation of the show, Fred Silverman, decided that Too Much's name was a little too much.
Yeah.
So Too Much would instead be named after an ad-lib lyric from Frank Sinatra's song Strangers in the Night. Too Much was now known as Scooby-Doo, and the show would be retitled Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, to reflect the cartoon's new comedic focus involving a beatnik's cowardly dog and their gang of mystery-solving friends.
After all the essential pieces were in place, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Was finally greenlit and put into production to air in 1969.
Next time on Do Talkin' to Me, Sid will give an overview of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, discussing these famous characters in their first appearance and running through an average Scooby-Doo plot.
See you there.